In today's mischief and mayhem, my first task actually isn't even on Little Bear. I am going over to my mooring buoy and I'm going to attempt to clean up the chain and the mooring painter. It's been sitting in the river for about a year and a half now, and everything in the river gets covered in slime and algae and gunk, which is really nasty. So before I pull the mooring painter up on deck or the chain up on deck, I want to clean it. I've got a brush that I'm going to scrub-a-dub-dub to get the gunk off, and hopefully tomorrow I will be able to move the boat from where it is right now way over there. So come with me and I'll show you what I'm up to. There's an end to this somewhere. I think it's right there. Sorry guys, but you're being evicted. You haven't paid your rent. It's time for you to go. Hello again. Today's job is a little bit different once again. I'm not actually working on Little Bear. I'm working on moving her mooring. So I was up early in the morning and down to the boat to catch a reasonably high tide, because it was going to turn into an unreasonably low tide. The low today was 1.4 feet, which left 9 feet under the keel where I am here in the hole. And I have to move my mooring tackle. So when the tide was at its lowest point, we hoisted as much chain as we could up on deck, secured it, and then simply waited for the tide to come in. So it's kind of a mess, but this is what it looks like. This is the chain for my mooring buoy. This is the mooring buoy painter. This one here. And the chain goes over the anchor rollers and down to the mooring buoy. But the real magic happens way down there. What I did was I used the winch on the mast, and I wrapped the chain around the windlass. The pawl on the windlass is too big for this chain. It just slips over the, I don't know what you call those, it just slips over them, so you can't really get it good and tight. So I used a rope. I tied a rope around the mooring chain tackle, made a collar. I went about 2 or 3 times through the links on the chain, and then I took a mooring line from one cleat to the other cleat and made kind of a yoke through that little loop that I made through the mooring chain. And I am now waiting for the tide to come and lift all that mess up. One of the challenges that I have is this guy right here, the next door neighbor. With the current and tide in the river and what have you, I have to be very careful that our boats don't bang together. I've got my inflatable in between us, and that makes a reasonable fender. I do have fenders as well, but I just don't want to be close to that boat. I don't want to crack into it or anything. I think the time right now is about 3:30, and the super high tide, 14 feet, will happen at 10 o'clock tonight. And hopefully that is enough to lift the tackle off the bottom and allow me to move it back where it came from. the plan anyway. Fingers crossed. Keep you posted. Here's another chap from the hole who has decided to take advantage of this week's super low and super high tides and careen his boat so he can clean it. He did the starboard side yesterday. Today he's doing the port side. So when we got here this morning, the boat was still kind of afloat and the tide's gone way out. And he's cleaned the bottom, and when it comes in, it'll float away. And that is how a careening works. Tide comes up, lifts you off, and away you go. The tide is 9.7 feet and rising. The boat hasn't shown any signs of moving or slipping. So I hope the next 4.5 feet do the trick. If not, I'm going to have to abandon the chain under the mooring buoy and go back to the inconvenient mooring and contemplate putting down a new one, which would not be good, but you have to do what you have to do. Time right now is 6:30, so we're 3 hours short of the absolute high tide. Right now it's about 10 feet, and that 10 feet was enough to lift the tackle on the bottom and for me to be able to move the boat. As you can see, I'm in a new spot, which is awesome because it means it's convenient to the shore where I parked my dinghy, and I don't have to row as far. And yeah, it's very central, and I'm very happy that we had a successful move. So right now I'm going to pack up and go home. You all have a wonderful day. Fair winds, falling seas, and God bless.